止待續，條例草案交由內務委員會處理。本會恢復2018年稅務豁免基金繳付利得稅修訂條例草案嘅二讀辯論。條例草案委員會主席梁繼昌議員先就委員會報告向本會發言。梁繼昌議員。
Acting President, in my capacity as Chairman of the Bills Committee on Inland Revenue, Profits Tax Exemption for Funds, Amendment Bill 2018, I would like to report on the major deliberations of the Bills Committee. The object of the bill is to amend the Inland Revenue Ordinance, Cap 112, to allow profits tax exemption for certain funds, whether or not the central management and control of the funds is exercised in Hong Kong, and to provide for related matters. At present, publicly offered funds, whether they are onshore or offshore funds, are given profits tax exemption under Chapter 112. For the purpose of the bill, publicly offered fund refers to mutual fund, unit trust, or similar investment scheme that is authorized as a collective investment scheme under Section 104 of the Securities and Futures Ordinance. For privately offered funds, only offshore privately offered funds and offshore private equity funds enjoy profits tax exemption. Onshore privately offered funds, with the exception of open-ended fund companies, do not enjoy profits tax exemption. This tax disparity is not considered conducive to the further development of Hong Kong's asset and wealth management industry because it will disincentivize funds to domicile or be managed in Hong Kong. Furthermore, the European Union has identified Hong Kong's tax regimes for offshore funds to be problematic on account of their ring-fencing features, referring to the current situation that certain onshore privately offered funds cannot enjoy profits tax exemption that applies to their offshore counterparts. This may not meet the latest base erosion and profit shifting standard of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. To further consolidate Hong Kong's competitive edge in the manufacturing and management of funds, and to avoid being put on the European Union's list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, the administration proposes to introduce amendments to Chapter 112 to remove ring-fencing tax features for fund entities under the existing tax regimes, and to adjust certain tax treatment for funds so that Hong Kong remains competitive in the face of increasing regional and international competition. The Bills Committee supports the bill and the objectives it seeks to achieve. I will now highlight the major issues and concerns expressed by the Bills Committee in the course of its deliberation. The bill seeks to add a new section to define fund and provides for the conditions by which any arrangement that meets this new definition would be eligible for profits tax exemption. Members have discussed the definition of fund in the bill and note that a fund encompasses the concept of contractual arrangement as well as legal arrangements in civil law jurisdictions. A fund, therefore, can be in the legal form of, for example, a partnership, a limited partnership, unit trust, an open-ended fund company, mutual fund corporation, or contractual arrangement. The bill provides that a fund does not include a business undertaking that directly engages in certain commercial activities listed in the bill. Members have discussed whether a fund would become not eligible for profits tax exemption under the bill if it invests in a company that directly engages in those listed commercial activities. The administration has clarified that it would be part of the normal operation of a fund if it invests in a private company, which engages in those listed commercial activities, and the fund may still qualify for profits tax exemption under the bill. The Bills Committee notes that there will be no tainting effect in the bill, so that the tax-exempt profits of the fund will not be tainted, even if a fund is taxed on its non-qualifying transactions. Members have queried whether a company which undertakes both commercial and investment activities would claim profits tax exemption in respect of the income derived from its investment activities. The administration has explained that a business undertaking for general commercial or industrial purposes and carries out commercial or industrial transactions would unlikely to be able to satisfy the definition of fund under the bill, and would therefore unlikely to be able to qualify for tax exemption. At present, under Section 28H of Chapter 112, an open-ended fund company is exempt from profits tax if at all times during the basis period for a year of assessment, it is a resident person and is non-closely held as defined in Section 28I. The purpose of this non-closely held condition is to ensure that an open-ended fund company enjoying tax exemption is not owned by a handful of individuals or corporate investors only, and to prevent an individual or corporate investor abuse the tax exemption by repackaging its business as an open-ended fund company. However, members are aware that Sections 28H and 28I will be replaced by Clause 5 of the bill, and they have queried how the situations that the two sections seek to prevent would be handled if the non-closely fund condition is not reinstated elsewhere in the bill. The administration has explained that the conditions for open-ended fund companies to qualify for profits tax exemption should basically be the same as those for the other funds, so that there would be a level playing field for funds operating in Hong Kong. All funds, including open-ended fund companies, are required to engage a specified person to arrange or carry out its transactions in Hong Kong, or be a qualified investment fund in order to be eligible for profits tax exemption under the bill. Members also note that, unlike other funds, an open-ended fund company is eligible for profits tax exemption whether or not the assets in transactions are specified in the proposed Schedule 16C of the bill. The administration has informed the Bills Committee that open-ended fund companies are regulated by the Securities and Futures Commission, and at least 90% of their investments are required to be securities or related products. As open-ended fund companies are already subject to stringent regulation of the Securities and Futures Commission, the administration takes the view that they should continue to enjoy profits tax exemption on a wider range of transactions. The bill provides that an open-ended fund company would not be entitled to profits tax exemption if it carries on direct trading or direct business undertaking in Hong Kong in assets of a class that is not specified in the proposed Schedule 16C of the bill, or holds such assets that are utilized to generate income. Members have discussed whether the bill should specify the circumstances under which an open-ended fund company would be regarded as carrying on direct trading or direct business undertakings in Hong Kong in assets in a non-Schedule 16C class, or holding such assets to generate income. The administration has explained that, as a matter of principle, the profits of a fund arising from direct trading or direct business undertaking should be chargeable to profits tax, while an open-ended fund company may enjoy profits tax exemption on transactions in assets of a non-Schedule 16C class under the bill, if it engages in direct trading or direct business undertaking in Hong Kong in such class of assets or utilizes such assets to generate income, the profits arising therefrom will still be taxable. As the operations of each open-ended company differ, the administration maintains that it would be difficult and appears not appropriate to specify such circumstances in the bill. The administration indicates that after the bill is passed, the Inland Revenue Department will issue a departmental interpretation and practice note, which will cover the interpretation and practice relating to the bill as a whole. The Bills Committee has discussed how the anti-tax avoidance measures are developed and how they work in practice. In particular, members have considered the case where a fund invests in a private company which holds certain assets in immovable property. Under the bill, a fund would be taxed on its profits arising from investment in a private company if the latter's immovable property exceeds 10% of its assets. As the price of immovable property fluctuates over time, members have queried how the fund's eligibility for tax exemption may be affected. The administration has explained that a snapshot of the private company's assets will be taken when the fund makes a transaction in that private company. The eligibility would be assessed according to the proportion of the immovable property's value over the private company's assets. The administration has also explained that the various tests adopted for the anti-tax avoidance measures are not new. They are either modeled on the existing profits tax exemption regime for open-ended fund companies or are developed have regard to the information gathered from the private equity fund sector in the earlier consultation exercises. The objectives of these measures are to discourage funds from investing excessively in the local immovable property market, to encourage funds to focus on the long-term prospects of the investee private companies, and to reduce the risk of tax abuse by engaging in trading activities through sales of shares in private companies. The Bills Committee supports the resumption of the second reading debate on the bill at the Council meeting today. No amendment to the bill will be proposed by the Bills Committee. Acting Chairman, here is my own view on the Inland Revenue Profits Tax Exemption for Funds Amendment Bill 2018. Now, this is, in fact, a very landmark legislation which would be welcomed by the funds industry in Hong Kong in general. In fact, since the profits tax exemption regime for offshore funds, meaning those funds, qualified funds with the central management and controlled outside Hong Kong, were given the exemption from profits tax, a lot of practitioners, industrial players have been lobbying the government to relax this regime in order that, to increase the fund activities in Hong Kong and to benefit the fund management industry as a whole. Now, more than 10 years have now passed. And now, ridiculously, I think very unfortunately, why did the government do this in such a short time? The only reason I can see, apart from the lobbying effort of the funds industry as a whole, the main pusher of this proposed bill is mainly coming from EU. But in fact, I think there are four things which are quite beneficial regarding this bill. Now, first of all, I think we should note that the definition of fund has been expanded to capture different kinds of bona fide funds in operations, regardless of their structure, size, or the purpose they serve. A fund in the context of this bill, Acting President, can be in the legal form of unit trust, partnership, limited partnership, open-ended fund company, mutual fund corporation, or even contractual arrangement, which is very common in civil law jurisdiction. In fact, when the administration was drafting this bill, it definitely has taken into consideration the definition of a collective investment scheme, which is defined in the Securities and Futures Ordinance in Part 1, Schedule 1 of that piece of legislation. Now, this is one thing which the bill has done, is to expand the definition. Of course, in order to qualify as a fund, of course, undertakes investment. The fund cannot be carrying on a trade or business. And if that entity, that particular legal entity, is carrying on such a trade or business, it is very likely that it fails to qualify as a fund. The other second significance of this bill is that it allows the fund to invest in private companies, both private companies outside Hong Kong and private companies established inside Hong Kong. And of course, these private companies, they are allowed to carry on trade or business. Of course, there is also other anti-avoidance measures to avoid speculation, excessive speculation in real estate, in immovable property situated in Hong Kong. So there is a maximum threshold of 10%, the valuation of the company taken together. If they have invest in immovable property, the value of those properties those immovable properties, cannot exceed a 10% threshold. And that is one of the criteria when an eligible fund is investing in a private company in Hong Kong. That is the third real significance of this bill. And a final significance of this bill is that it has disallowed the tainting effect. In the past, if a fund invests in some ineligible assets, the whole fund will be tainted and the profits tax previously given to this fund will be forfeited. The whole fund will not be eligible. Now, however, this bill has compartmentalized the eligible part and the non-eligible part. If a fund, for example, has invested in a private company, and that private company holds immovable property which has exceeded the threshold, then only the profits deriving from those ineligible investments, that is the private company, will get taxed. The other part of the fund will still, if other conditions are qualified, be able to get the profits tax exemption. Now, I would urge my honorable colleagues to support this bill, although it sounds very technical, it sounds very, convoluted, the whole bill. But I hope my very brief explanation of what the bill does can give some highlight and rationale of what this bill is all about. Now, as we all know, Hong Kong is an important international financial center. In fact, if you look at some figures, the funds, just look at the funds authorized by the Securities and Futures Commission alone, between the years 2013-14 to the years 2017-2018, and within a time span of just 5 years, the number of funds authorized by SFC has risen by 62% in those 5 years. And as at today, we got 2,799 SFC authorized collective investment schemes in Hong Kong. And that is a very encouraging figure. Now, needless to say, the passage of this bill will further enhance our role as the #1 asset management center in Asia, and will generate more business and will generate more quality employment for people supporting the funds industry, the administrators, the book runners, the professionals. But more importantly, I must say, this bill also encourages investment into private companies. new startups, companies involving in fintech, high-tech, whatever kind of technology they would like to do. They need money, they need funding. Apart from securing funding from the stock exchange, maybe they're too small, without track record. Maybe they don't want to go public. Funding from these funds will be a major source of untapped, income for these companies located in Hong Kong. These private companies can now locate in Hong Kong, can now do their R&D. They also benefit from the R&D, super deduction. And now they have the source of funding from these venture funds, private equity funds, whatever you call them. And this is very important. And we should not underestimate this effect. Now, of course, a third reason why we should support this bill, and in fact, I have worked very hard to secure our early passages of this bill, is that the business community and the regulators in EU is not quite happy that, is not happy that our legislative regime, in particular, a tax legislative regime, differs the treatment between onshore and offshore operations. And if we are not going to change the law to give a level playing field between onshore and offshore operation in respect of the funds alone, there is a very high risk that EU may somehow one day trying to do something to Hong Kong and to enlist Hong Kong as a not very transparent or competitive tax regime, and maybe putting us on a kind of watch list. And this is unwelcoming news if they do so in Hong Kong. And I have to say this, I have to tell the business community internationally, I have to tell the financial regulators in the EU, I have to tell the tax authorities in the EU, we have done it properly, quickly, effectively, and efficiently. And Hong Kong is not a tax haven. We have the most stringent, regulation which meets the international standard. And we are still moving forward. And we will retain the #1 place in asset management also in Asia, and hopefully later a #1 asset management center of the world. Now, however, I think we should not be complacent because there are quite a few things which the government has failed to deliver. In fact, I have made a small statistics. In the past 1 year, during 2018, there are 9 tax-related bills which have been passed, 9. And since the beginning of this year, 2019, it's just two months. We have dealt with 2 tax legislations, and we're going to do another one in a few minutes later. So altogether, by the end of this day, I hope, we have pushed through 12 pieces of legislation which are all tax-related. We have given a lot of incentives to various sectors of business, of the economy. But we haven't seen much concrete evidence or data to tell us what kind of economic benefits these legislations have brought us. We need to be told what are the economic benefits. We want to see some statistics. We want to see, for example, like the employment figure, for example, like how many funds have established, things like that. And of course, the government has been telling us that yes, it would be beneficial to the economy, it would be beneficial to employment, but no such figures were ever given to us. And then I would urge the government to report to the Financial Affairs Panel on a regular basis of the performance of these various financial sectors once these bills have passed. Or else, I must, tell you the truth that many of these bills, if not all, could be wasted. Your effort would be wasted. The effort of all our colleagues in enacting the bills would be wasted. We should be told what the economic effects are. If there's no economic effects, this could be due to 2 reasons. One, you're not promoting, the incentive enough. Or 2, the incentive given is too little too late, then you must change the law. Okay, back to the private equity business. Are we doing good? Are we doing okay after this bill? I don't think so. There are a few more things that you should consider pushing forward quickly. One, I think on many occasions, many of my colleagues, including my colleague Dennis Kwok, has been telling the government that you have to push through the legislation for the establishment of limited partnership in Hong Kong. I mean the limited partnership for collective investment purposes and not the limited partnership for professional firms. So as a very popular investment vehicle, company used by a lot of Americans, the limited partnership law as a collective investment structure must be finalized and formalized as a legislation, and we need that urgently. And secondly, I think the Bureau and the Inland Revenue Department as a whole should come down to a very serious study and research on how, carry interest, which is a very common, incentive arrangement for private equity funds, should be taxed. You have to devise a clear-cut way to deal with carried interest. You cannot just hide yourself under the sand and treat, these, accrued carried interest on a case-by-case basis. Because if we do not have a consistent and clear policy, let alone a piece of legislation, many of these private equity funds would not choose Hong Kong, would avoid Hong Kong in the long run, although we got so many other advantages. I think, Chairman, President, that is my speech on the bill, and I hope this bill can galvanize the support of the whole House. Thank you.
有冇其他議員想發言？如果冇，我請局長答辯，之後辯論即告結束。財經事務及庫務局局長。
代理主席，我感謝法案委員會主席梁繼昌議員同埋其他委員，以及立法會秘書處同埋法律顧問嘅努力，令到2018年稅務豁免基金繳付利得稅修訂條例草案呢個審議工作係得以順利完成。我亦都感謝業界對我哋建議嘅稅務措施嘅支持，以及喺過程裏邊提出一啲非常有用嘅意見。第二，條例草案針對以私人形式發售嘅基金，只要佢哋喺香港營辦並且符合若干條件，無論佢哋係喺在岸或者係離岸，以及佢嘅結構、規模或者目的，都係可以享有利得稅豁免。呢一方面係要釋除歐盟對香港適用於以私人形式發售離岸基金呢個稅務安排存在分隔措施嘅疑慮。另外一方面，即可以為在香港營辦嘅在岸基金同埋離岸基金係締造公平嘅競爭環境。根據現行嘅稅制，喺以私人形式發售嘅基金中間，只有離岸基金同埋在岸開放式基金型嘅公司係享有利得稅豁免，其他在岸基金不能夠同樣咁樣享有利得稅嘅豁免。喺基金投資層面方面，稅務條例目前訂明，以私人形式發售嘅離岸基金，如果要享有呢個稅項豁免，佢哋可以投資在海外成立嘅私人公司，但係佢哋不可以投資喺本地嘅私人公司。上述嘅不同嘅稅務待遇，或者會窒礙基金嚟到香港註冊同埋喺香港管理，係不利香港資產同埋財富管理業嘅進一步發展。就此，我哋制定咗條例草案，喺稅務條例中間加入咗獨立成章嘅修訂條文，俾所有喺香港營辦嘅在岸基金同埋離岸基金，只要符合若干條件，都可以享有同樣嘅利得稅豁免嘅安排。需要符合嘅條件係包括：第一， 相關實體係需要符合基金嘅定義。第二，基金嘅交易係需要由獲證監會發牌嘅法團喺香港安排或者進行，或者基金係屬於符合資格嘅基金。而符合資格嘅基金係需要有最少5名嘅投資者，並且需要符合關於資本認繳總額同埋發放淨收益嘅相關要求。以及第三，基於投資喺指明資產嘅利潤可以獲得利得稅豁免，呢一啲係包括基金通常會投資嘅證券同埋其他類別嘅金融產品。此外，基金投資喺本地同埋海外私人嘅公司都可以享有利得稅豁免。此外，我哋建議基金可以享稅項豁免嘅利潤，唔會因為其他嘅需要繳稅嘅非合資格交易而係受到影響。我哋亦都建議，如果基金透過成立特定目的實體持有同埋管理佢哋喺私人公司所作嘅投資，特定目的實體個層面嘅稅項豁免將係會按基金持有嘅呢一個實體嘅權益百分率而定。為咗減低避免稅嘅風險，我哋亦都會引入咗防止濫用嘅措施，包括對基金喺私人公司嘅投資嘅不動產、持有期同埋短期資產作出一啲規限或者要求。此外，我哋亦都喺條例草案裏面保留咗基金嘅防止迂迴避稅嘅條文，以防止漏稅。法案委員會曾經就基金嘅涵義、防止濫用嘅措施呢啲實際操作、開放式基金型公司日後嘅稅務安排、特定目的實體嘅稅務安排等技術嘅細節係進行咗討論。我哋已經就各項嘅事宜向委員會作出詳細嘅解釋，委員會並冇進一步嘅問題。代理主席，我哋認為條例草案將會有助加強香港喺製造同埋管理基金方面嘅競爭優勢，亦都可以帶動其他相關專業服務嘅需求，促進香港整體金融服務業進一步嘅發展。此外，由於窒外基金投資喺本地私人公司嘅稅務安排亦都已經移除，本地初創企業亦都應該會因為有機會成為基金嘅投資對象而受惠。條例草案已經得到法案委員會嘅支持，我懇請本會予以通過，俾呢個稅務豁免安排可以喺今年4月開始實施。代理主席，我謹此陳辭。
我現在向各位提出嘅待決議題係2018年稅務豁免基金繳付利得稅修訂條例草案，予以二讀。贊成嘅請舉手，反對嘅請舉手。我認為議題獲得在席議員以過半數贊成，我宣布議案獲得通過。
2018年稅務豁免基金繳付利得稅修訂條例草案。
本會現在